What the inspiration of that?
Responding to the idea of what I do think about curatorially, I don't do a lot of curating, apart from my mantelpiece at home, which I tend and make little connections between images and objects and reflections and so on. So that's what that is. It's my curatorial endeavour. And Myfanwy is a much more sensible one, I think.
Yes. What is Dialogue? Dialogue started off as, as 5 artists from Birmingham. But one of us used to come from Birmingham and now lives just above Bordeaux in France. And she has made contacts in Bordeaux and knows a lot of artists there. And we decided to become a group, an exhibiting group really, to begin with. And we were invited to show at a big festival in Bordeaux called Art Chorlton. And we had to come up with some work. So we were invited to go to Bordeaux and look around the city and make responses to that city. Yes, we stayed there for a week.
Yeah, so the 5 images on there are images from that show.
Yeah, so on the top left is a piece by Joss Burke, and she is the person who now lives just above Bordeaux, near Calais, in the Charente area of France. The middle photograph at the top there is a kind of installation shot of this wonderful building that I will tell you about as well, that we showed in Bordeaux. And the main piece in the middle there is by Peter Grigo, which is an installation all about architecture and looking at Corbusier's architecture, because there is a suburb near Bordeaux called Pessac that was built basically by Corbusier. And Peter was making comments about the architecture and looking at he was making comments photographically, and Corbusier made comments in a kind of manifesto that he wrote about architecture. And the wonderful thing about Pessac is that the people who live in Corbusier's houses have customised them and changed them. So a lot of Peter's photographs were, just from the outside, from one side it might be a really fantastic minimalist kind of building, and then on the back it had a sort of ramshackle lean-to come conservatory with sort of curtains hanging off it and things like that. So that's what the photographs are there. Then the next piece along, that's another member of our group, Tom Ranahan. He's not here tonight, and he's a photographer. So he spent his week taking photographs of people that he met when he was in Bordeaux, cafe owners, other artists, people who worked in the Chorlton area, and then made these banners for the show that roughly looked like flags and had the French tricolore colours on them. Then there's Graham's paintings, and Graham spent a week there walking around, calls himself a flaneur. I'm not
only when I'm in France.
Only when you're in France. Okay. Is that all you're going to say? Yeah.
Well, one reason why they're hanging is this building they gave us was this beautiful Victorian market hall, but it didn't really have any walls in it, apart from those bits in between the windows. So the work sort of hangs and is projected and so on in the space.
So how did you hear about the opportunity, and why did you apply for it, and what did you want to do with that space?
Well, we had shown in small exhibitions during previous Art Chorlton festivals.
No, Mac.
Oh, Mac.
Yeah,
I'm
no, there's
sorry,
a lot. No, the allotment. No, we're talking about allotment now.
Okay.
What?
We are one of the people who applied for an allotment space. Yeah.
So, where did you see the opportunity, and why did you apply, and what did you want to do with the space?
Well, what we thought, the show that's on the screen was 2010, And this literally, this dialogue between these French artists and us has been sort of going along since a bit before that, actually. So we've done a big show there, plus some little shows. We've had French artists over. They did a group show at what's it called? The gallery down in the Works. And also they did a show at the gallery in Margaret Street. So this thing has been kind of snowballing along. So we thought this would be a nice opportunity to just expand it and extend it and keep the dialogue going. So between ourselves, the artists in Bordeaux, and to get further artists engaged on both sides as well.
We're sort of making new friends in Bordeaux because of this allotment space that we have here. So the artists that we know of, they're suggesting other artists. And one of the great things about the space has been, not that we have webcam operating at the moment, but in our space we have a screen, and we've had webcams in France that have been broadcasting live performances and live happenings over in France, and that will happen in the next show as well, which is in August. And I suppose we've been roughly changing every 2 weeks or every month, that kind of thing. It varies, really.
Yeah,
it varies.
yeah. It was all quite organic, really, because we had no idea what we'd be showing in July last April. So it's actually taken on quite a momentum of its own. So we'll probably end up with more stuff than we got time to show in a way.
So is it about using the space in a particular way? I mean, how did you decide to organise that space, and what were you trying to do with it?
Well, I suppose we set it up with, so it's got wall space and screen and a cabinet, so
Yeah.
we can get connections and conversations between lots of different sorts of work. So between photographs, paintings, objects, performance, whatever.
And how does it get curated? Is it curated by one person or a group, or how does that work?
When we first thought about these 9 months, are they 9 months? Are they really 9 months? Is it 9 months? Yeah. We thought that each one of us, that's the original 5, would kind of take a lead per month. That hasn't quite worked out, although it's sort of worked out that way. And then the work that we have for that particular month or 2 weeks, we get it in the space and we curate it really on the day. Curate in a sense of arranging, really, as to what looks good next to what, really.
But is the show about continuing this connection backwards and forwards, and
Definitely.
what happens at the other end in terms of this show?
Well, they are, when I say they, the French artists are making proposals and are wanting to show in this space, and they're seeing the results of what we've done online, and there's through the Mac site, and also with us sending images over, and it's kind of snowballing, really, because some of the artists in Bordeaux know artists in Berlin. Berlin was mentioned earlier. So I think the next, I don't know how we're going to curate actually the last month and a half, really, because I suppose as with everybody, we have more people that we could show them than we can get up on the wall. So don't quite know what's going to happen there. Decision somehow.
Yeah. But it's interesting the way the different works, and they sort of semi-overlap, so the stuff might stay on the wall but the screen stuff changes, and different sort of conversations go along between the works.
And that sign.